hallway lights flickered again last night. Third time this week. Maintenance says it's the wiring old building. February chill gnawing at the insulation. But they don't live here. Don't notice how the darkness between flickers feels. Thick. Clotted. I measured it once. 17 seconds of blackness after the bulb above my door gave out, long enough for the keypad to glow to fade, for the numbers to dissolve into a smear of green, long enough to imagine the wet sound in the stairwell wasn't the pipes. Dr. Chandra left a cadaver drawer ajar yesterday. Just a crack, but the scent clung to my sleeves all afternoon, formaldehyde and something sweet underneath, like burned honey. My gloves kept sticking to the trays afterward. The elevator doors opened on B2, and for half a breath, the fluorescent striped the concrete in jaundiced bars. The scent of hot metal. Just the cables whining and a new vibration in the floor, low enough to blur my vision. Now, 3 a.m., and the neighbor's dog won't stop scratching at our shared wall. Not the usual pacing, desperate, rhythmic. When I pressed my palm to the plaster, it hummed. A thud from upstairs, then another. Moving furniture at midnight is against lease terms, but Mrs. Park died 2 weeks ago. Apartment still empty. The scratching stopped when I held my breath. Wait! No! My ears adjusted around the silence. There it is, dripping. Not the kitchen tap. Closer. It's coming from the ceiling. The ceiling paint bubbles where the drip hits, a glossy swell that ripples outward in the damp. I stand on the bed, my neck arched, inhaling, not water, but that sweetness again, rancid and cloying. The stain's edges glisten like oil. Upstairs, a floorboard creaks. No one should be there. I tell myself this, louder than the thudding in my ears. The bulb outside my window dies mid-flicker. The neighbor's dog howls. Not through the wall directly beneath my window. The courtyard lies empty. Untouched snow glows under a street lamp except for a single trail of jagged furrows. Behind me, the ceiling groans. A wet crack splits the plaster. It's adjusting, I think. Anchoring. A cord of ice slides down my spine. I don't look up. My tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. The cold isn't winter anymore. It's marrow deep, leaching through socks, through skin. Shadows clot in corners the street lamp can't reach, denser than they were. Warmth grazes my earlobe. I touch it. Damp, smelling of copper and overcooked syrup. My fingers tremble under the faint light from the courtyard, gleaming red. Upstairs, the creak rolls forward, deliberate, a footstep testing rotten wood. Breath scrapes my throat. I count the seconds, 16. 23. The rhythm syncs with the trickle. Each splatter now lands with a soft click, like teeth snapping shut. Snow crunches suddenly beneath the window. No footsteps precede it, only a hollow compression, as though something heavy, but weightless, settled there. The dog wails again, closer, clawing, but the sound twists, warping into a wet, gurgling laugh. My stomach heaves. Plaster dust rains onto my shoulders. The crack above yawns wider. Something fibrous dangles, pale, slender. Not debris. Tendon? Root? The walls flex inward, textured now. Not plaster, not quite. Damp scales catch the dim light. My reflection in the window wavers. Its mouth moves a half-second behind mine. The floorboards beneath my socks are spongy, giving like fresh meat. Every step leaves a faint suction sound, wet, intimate. The air curdles when I swallow, sweetness coating my molars. Not syrup, but something fermented in the dark. A shadow spills under the stairwell, thick as ink, flowing upward against the red glow. It twists into shapes, splayed fingers, then a jaw unhinging. My lips fuse shut, trapping the whimper in my chest. Frost blooms crackle across the June window. The dog's laughter overlaps itself, jagged harmonies echoing from all directions. My breath hangs frozen mid-air. My reflection leans closer through the glass. Its pupils swallow the irises, black pools edged with frost. A child's voice whispers through the pane, singing forgotten words. The walls breathe behind me. Scales whisper against plaster. The nursery rhyme sharpens into shrieks, punctuated by wet clicks that sync with my pulse. Fingernails trace my spine, cold points pressing between vertebrae. The frost etches stay in brittle cursive as my knees buckle. Something probes the hollow beneath my skull. A featherlight intrusion. The shadow pools around my ankles, heavy and sentient. Roots. The roots snake upward, brittle capillaries threading through my calves. My jaw creaks open. "Not mine! Not anymore!" And the child's voice spills out. Bones hung where the well ran deep. Is a musk of damp soil clots my throat. The shadow rises, liquid and deliberate, molding itself to my silhouette. Our edges fuse. I feel its hunger ribbed against my capillaries, viscous and ancient. Frost crackles inward from the window frame. My reflection steps through, bare feet whispering on the warped boards. Its breath smells of wet clay. "One for sorrow," it croons, touching my clavicle. The contact thrums. A tuning fork struck deep in my marrow. Plaster splits behind me. Tendrils push through, glassy and veined, braiding themselves into my hair. A seam parts above. Something glistens there, ropes of muscle flexing, pulsing in time with the wet clicks. The child's voice claws up my windpipe. "Two for Mifs." The roots yank my head sideways. Shadows coil in my periphery. Silhouettes bloom gaunt, two-limbed, curving toward me in a slow inhalation. The reflection presses its forehead to mine. Cold floods my sinuses. Memories that aren't mine unfurl. A cellar door slamming, fingernails splintering against oak, the sweet rot of apples fermenting in a jar. "3 for the cradle," we whisper together, voices knotted. My tongue swells, prickling with centipede legs. The thing in the ceiling sighs. Sap thick and amber oozes from my tear ducts. The sap hardens, honeycomb crust sealing my lashes shut. Still I see them, the silhouettes, their limbs elongating like shadows at noon. My fingers twitch, but the command comes from elsewhere now. The reflection guides my hand to the wall, palm flattened against bleeding plaster. Someone else's heartbeat thrums through the house's veins, cold, so cold where our foreheads touch. The child hums instead, a lullaby this time, and the roots cinch tighter. My ears pop, the ceiling's pulse quickens, a wet drumbeat, the floorboards soften beneath me. Shapes move in the walls, not the silhouettes, smaller, skittering. I hear their mandibles click. The reflection tilts my chin upward. A sac ruptures, releasing a sound, glottal, gorged, that sends spiders spilling from the light fixture. "Closer!" I can't remember my mother's voice, only the cellar, the apples, how the jar cracked after 3 weeks, rivulets blackening the shelf. My left pupil detaches, drifts, lands in the reflection's open palm. It places the wet marble on its tongue. "5, it says with my mouth. The shadows inhale. I do not exhale.